didn't even get to cross.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the DMD, and I'm coming at you guys today with my Swordsoul deck profile for April of 2023. So I've been playing this deck for about 5 months, and this is one of the best decks in the format. I would say probably around the 5th best deck of the format, just because it is so versatile. It does what it does consistently every single game. And it's just a lot of fun to play. So, like I said, I've had a lot of success with this deck. I am currently in week 5 of a 6-week league with this deck, and I wanted to kind of profile this deck as it stands currently and the list that I'm playing so that you all can see. So, without further ado, here is the list. Starting off with 3 copies of Moye, that's self-explanatory. This card's the heart and soul of the deck. 3 Longyon, and only 2 Taya. I'm pretty sure this is 100% standard all the way around. But that is it for the main deck Swordsoul monsters. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Ecclesia. This card is great going second. It's a free synchro play. We have 3 Ashuna, 2 Adhara, and then the 2 Vishuddha. 3, 2, and 2 is the Tenny ratio that I found to work the most efficiently. You can kind of tinker with these ratios if you like. I know some people play Shithana if you're playing like Heavenly Dragon Circle, but I don't really play that, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the Tenny lineup. For the hand traps, we are on 3 Ash, and that's about it. I didn't really opt to play many hand traps because I feel like hand traps are just kind of mid right now, as opposed to board breakers like Forbidden Droplet and Book of Eclipse, which I also play in the main deck. But moving on, we have 3 copies of Emergence and 1 copy of Swordsoul Sacred Summit. This card's also really good to grab if you happen to hard open Blackout. For the Tenny support engine, we have double copies of Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. I really like this card because of the fact that it equals your full combo with any Tenny monster and itself. So it's just a 2-card combo. Also, we then have 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent and 3 copies of Book of Eclipse and 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This is what I choose to play over the hand traps, specifically because I feel like they provide me more utility. Obviously, Book of Eclipse is really targeted at Kashtira, but it can also come up against Branded. You can just turn off all their interruption, and same with Forbidden Droplet. You can also just blank the Branded board. But also, Triple Tack comes up where if you're going second and you get interrupted, you can take something, beat into another threat on the board, or crash your opponent's monster into one of other of their monsters, and so on and so forth. Moving on, we have double copies of Pot of Desires, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, and finally, for our 40th card, we have the 1 copy of Swordsoul Blackout that we add off of Qizhao. Speaking of Qizhao, let's get into the extra deck real quick. So basically, it's a typical Swordsoul extra deck, minus maybe like 1 card. Starting off, we've got the 3 copy of Monk, the 1 Shaman. I know some people are cutting this, but I find it to be pretty good going second, especially as an extender. 2 copies of Qizhao. This is the heart and soul of the deck. I don't know what else to say here. Moving on, we have the 1 Black Rose Dragon. Now, I know some people might be like, huh, what, why? So this is in place of Yazi. So what you can do is activate Emergence. You add Taya. You Taya banish Emergence. You Emergence lower the token's level by 1. And then you have a chain blocked Black Rose, because you can go Chainlink 1 Black Rose, Chainlink 2 Taya. So it's really strong. Double Baxia. It's really good to make this off of Taya as well. So you can just clear threats and keep playing by reborning a dude from grave. 1 Draco Berserker, yeah, you kind of have to play this because it's probably the best level 8 you can go into. 1 Dragite for the Spell Trap Negate. This is good against things like Eldritch or Labyrinth, assuming they don't skill drain you to death. 1 Shen Shen, because it's an option, you can make it by Taya banishing Emergence. or Sacred Summit, so you can modulate the level of the token and you can make the level 9. 1 Baronne de Fleur, 1 Chanyang. Chanyang goes really burr in the Kashtira matchup. It's really good. And finally, 1 copy of Kijing Longyan. And of course, the Swordsoul token, which we don't have, so it's a slime token. But that is pretty much it for the extra deck. Moving on finally into our side deck. It's pretty simple to understand. I don't think there should be too much explanation needed here. 3 copies of Dark Ruler just for combo boards. 3 copies of Lightning Storm for back row, assuming they don't open Lord of Heavenly Prison. 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This card is God tier. This card may end up getting hit at some point because this card is so nuts going first, especially in this deck when you have such easy access to it using Draco Berserker. Moving on from here, we have 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. A lot of people complain about this card, this format as well. I'm kind of on the fence about it because when you call Synchro against me, I kind of just have to pass, so it's very frustrating to play against. But also, it's just a really good card, and it's been around for a while. I really like it. And finally, my Anime Ace card, Evenly Matched. Yeah, this card destroys everything this format, so I can't really say enough good things about Evenly. This card's just God tier right now. But overall, guys, I think this deck is very well positioned. It has a good matchup against Kashtira. It has a decent-ish matchup against Branded. It kind of struggles a little bit against Sprite, depending on what they end on. A little bit less so now that Elf is banned. Elf was the main problem with going second against them. But with the targeting protection gone, there's a lot more flexibility when it comes to the Sprite matchup. The Kashtira matchup is very, very easy. You basically just bounce the Shangri-Ira or the Arise Heart, and from there the game is pretty much over. But we do play Book of Eclipse just to simplify the game state a little bit further, but it's not a hard matchup, I wouldn't say. Concerning the Branded matchup, cards like Book of Eclipse and Forbidden Droplet are going to be your best friends in that matchup. Obviously, ashing the Branded Fusion is really strong, but Book of Eclipse, I have noticed, is the best answer to that deck, and it's really not close. The one matchup that I did also want to touch on, because I feel like it's imperative to do so, is the Labyrinth matchup. That is by far your hardest matchup, and if you do not see Vishuda and they open Skill Drain, it's practically impossible to win going second, barring your sideboard. It's a very difficult matchup because all of their cards can remove your cards, things like IDP, Torrential, Ghastly Glitch, so on and so forth. All of those cards remove your cards, and that's the one thing this deck loses to going second. Furthermore, Floodgates like Gozen Match, specifically, absolutely cook you. Not just Skill Drain, but Gozen Match, preventing you from making anything except a Water Monster or a Wind if you have Taya up. Dog, it's over, scoop it up. You just have to take a chance at side decking if you lose the die roll. Like, that's really the only way, or just hope that they have really bad RNG and just brick or something. There's so many moving pieces to that deck. There's Floodgates, there's other traps, and obviously D-Barrier is a card, so there's just a lot of variance involved in that matchup, and you can't really predict what your opponent is going to have because it's a trap deck, and a lot of it is just RNG. But outside of that, those are pretty much the matchups. Every single matchup in the format is pretty good for you, except exactly the Labyrinth matchup. But that being said, guys, that is pretty much it for the profile. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. It is me, it is that DMD. And as y'all know, your boy is out. Peace out, guys.
Didn't even get to cross.